Hey folks, welcome to What's New, the Peter Larmond Outdoor Radio Show. I'm your host, Peter Larmond, and this week we are very pleased and honored to have an individual that is not only a professional angler, but also a very successful businessman. This week our guest is BASS Elite Series and your 2007 Bassmaster Classic champion, Boyd Duckett. We're not going to only talk about bass fishing and, we're not going to just talk about bass fishing because we got one of the greatest bass anglers on the air with us today, but we're going to talk more about fishing equipment. And Boyd Duckett obviously has a line of called Duckett Fishing. We're going to talk about that. However, before we get to Boyd, let's take a quick break and we'll be right back.
George's Marine and Sports, making fun of reality. George's has 3 locations, their head office in Eganville, the largest showroom in Ottawa, and their new location in Kingston. George's sells everything you need for your boating and outdoor pleasure. Boats from Tracker, Nitro, Crestliner, Bayliner, Regal, and Sea-Doo. And they don't forget their line of outboards, Mercury and BRP. Livingston Lures. Livingston Lures is committed to bringing fishermen everywhere innovative, technologically advanced lures designed to flat-out catch fish in fresh and salt water. With an exciting new line of crankbaits, lipless crankbaits, topwater baits, jerk baits, and wake baits featuring unique sound and vibration technology. Livingston Lures is set to make some real noise across the fishing industry. Gambler Lures, better baits, better fishing, better time on the water. Gambler Lures has one goal when it comes to our products, catching you more and bigger fish. Lose, building innovative products that are faster, lighter, and stronger.
Welcome back. As I mentioned earlier, today on the show we have 2007 Bassmaster Classic champion, the BASS Elite Series angler, and Duckett Fishing Pro, Boyd Duckett. Welcome to the show, Boyd.
Thanks, Peter. I appreciate you having me.
You know, it's again, I appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule. I know you guys are wrapping up or have wrapped up the season as far as fishing goes. Now it's kind of all fun fishing and preparing for next year. But what we wanted to talk about today, Boyd, is I noticed you've launched a new line, or you've launched a new business, Duckett Fishing, and it's basically a great line of rods. What, being a successful bass angler and a tournament angler and a winning angler, what made you decide to get into the rod business?
Well, you know, Peter, I have, like most of the guys, I've worked all my life and been in, many different industries, and it wasn't until 2006 that I decided to, pour full time into bass fishing. But I enjoy staying busy when I'm not on the water. So back in 2009, I decided to, get in. I wanted to be in the fishing industry, and fishing rods and the technology that wasn't being used that I couldn't buy, such as micro guides, and we introduced to the world some of our blank designs, the way that we wrap rods. I was real excited about having the chance to kind of move into that industry. So we did that, and it's been 4 or 5 years now, and it's been quite a ride, and I'm pleased to say we've been very successful and kind of carved our place in the fishing world now. So that was sort of the purpose for getting into it, and now we're in neck deep, so to speak, year after year coming with new series, and I really, really enjoy working on that stuff.
Well, that's amazing. I understand what you're saying, and as an angler, you're always looking to improve on everything, and I think with the line of rods that you've introduced to the world, I think you've done that for sure. I know you've got several different models of rods within your product line. Can you tell us a little bit what they are?
Yeah, we launched it originally with that series that is still very popular, called the Micro Magic series. That's a $159 price point fishing rod. That's what we built the company on. We launched micro guides, and as time has gone on, we've made some improvements. In fact, I guess the biggest change you will see coming into 15, we still offer that same original fishing rod, the Micro Magic. Mm-hmm. It's now called the Micro Magic Pro. We've done a couple of changes, a couple of improvements. One is the micro guide itself, the character of a micro guide. They're small, fragile items, and to make them withstand the rigors of bass fishing, we basically built a much heavier duty, thicker frame, where the original frames were 0.5 thickness. These are 0.7 thickness. Went to a harder ceramic, just basically improved the Micro Guide, and that's available now on the Micro Magic Pro. We moved from that rod into our highest price point rod, which is called the White Ice.
Yes.
What's different about the White Ice, other than cosmetics, it's a completely different blank design, a very labor-intensive blank design, dual helical bias blank design, we call it. Basically, we're crisscrossing the pre-preg material, which is the graphite fiber material, crossing it in one direction and then 45 degrees the other direction. But what that allows us to do is things with blank design and actions. We also built that around our signature series. We took all of our pro staff and Kelly Jordan's well known for throwing that big KJ spoon, and he wanted a 7.6 heavy action rod, but that had a lot of tip on it. That's a hard rod to build, but because of using all those small cuts, we were able to accomplish those designs. And Timmy Horton's cranking rods and Byron Velvick swim bait rods. So to make all these rods be the perfect rod, so to speak, we had to create a new wrap design, and so that's what the White Ice is about. Our next project was to try to launch that same pro-driven performance in an affordable rod, and probably the rod I'm most proud of is our Ghost series. We actually found a way to offer that super weight balance sensitivity, still offer Micro Guides, and do it at an affordable price with that Ghost series. Those rods come in about $99 and available to everybody. And buddy, we sell a lot of them. That Ghost rod really turned out to be a big hit. So those were the rods that we have to date.
Right.
And then of course, moving into 15, we've got one more rod series coming. The Micro Guides are fantastic performance rods. Probably 25 or 30% of the anglers are taking advantage of those great characteristics of Micro Guides in bass fishing rods. But there's a lot of people that still like the traditional guided rods, and we wanted to offer them a rod also. So coming into 15, we have a new full-size guided line of rods called the Terex line. And those rods are, in fact, we're shipping them out of the warehouse now. Just started shipping. That's also the line that Dean Rojas is in our pro staff, and he designed some very specific frog rods. They're available in that Terex line. So we're real excited about that new line of rods coming out for next year.
Well, you've certainly been busy over the last since the inception of Duckett Fishing Industries, for sure. Just to backtrack a little bit here, Boyd, if you don't mind, Micro Guides. I know you have them on all your lines. I'm sure you get asked this at shows, at ICAST, or in appearances or seminars. Can you describe, because again, our audience, is a wide range. We have guys from the weekend guy, the tournament angler, to a cottage goer that only gets out a couple times a year. Can you explain the benefits of Micro Guides as opposed to the traditional, the bigger guides?
Absolutely. The big advantages to Micro Guides, and I was wrapping my personal guides long before Duckett Fishing with Micro Guides. A lot of people ask me, hey man, look, they had never seen those little tiny guides.
Absolutely.
Why do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
Three main advantages to Micro Guides. First, all of us bass fishing, weight and balance of a rod and reel combination is critical, especially when you're fishing all day. For the guys that put in long days, even if you don't go that often and you're not a tournament fisherman, holding that rod and reel for 6, 7, 8, 12 hours, a balanced rod is much easier you can feel what's going on. You don't have that forward heaviness, that drags on your wrists all day long. So weight and balance, because the Micro Guides are so light, you're able to achieve that perfect weight and balance that every fisherman wants to feel. Second thing they give you, additional casting distance on the rods that matters, such as, throwing big crankbaits or just throwing a spinnerbait or any lure that you top water, something you want to get as far away from the boat as possible so that the fish doesn't see the boat, they don't spook, you get better bites. The casting distance advantage comes from the fact that any rod, micro guide or traditional guided rod, full-size guides, what stops the cast is actually line drag on the blank. And with traditional guided rods, you have a wider movement of the line, and so basically you get more blank drag. And those micro guides straighten that line out, which gives you a longer cast. Very noticeable on, long crankbaits, topwater, something you're trying to throw a long way.
Mm-hmm.
The third, and for me, I think most important, is sensitivity. The sensitivity increase that you get from micro guides, because they're so small, and I've already got good weight and balance, I can actually run 5 or 6 guides in that first 12 to 14 inches of the rod where that tip is soft, and that's where you pick up your sensitivity. Sensitivity comes from points of contact where the line touches the guide. It doesn't touch the blank, so obviously what you feel in your hand is where that line touches the guides, and by increasing those points of contact, it substantially increases your sensitivity, which all of us know, man, you're dragging a tube out there, and it might have been a bite. Was it not?
Yeah.
We all want to feel everything that our bait is doing. So those are the 3 main advantages: weight and balance, additional casting distance, and unparalleled sensitivity. That's what micro guides do for you.
So there you have it, folks. I mean, you've heard it from the master himself. Again, as yourself, having done shows and having people talk to you, or just coming up at a tournament, and they see, again, they talk about the micro guides, and they go, "I've never seen that. Why?" I'm really glad you clarified that for us today, Boyd, because it is a question that gets asked a lot. And I've also noticed that there's more and more manufacturers out there now putting micro guides on certain blanks and certain rods. And so now we know the 3 reasons as to why that happens.
That's right. That's of course, when you build a good product in the fishing business, you know how it is. Everybody's going to want to jump on the bandwagon, and that's good because it's technology that really does make a difference for the angler. And as you mentioned, most of the rod manufacturers now have a macro guided line of rods, or a lot of them multiple lines of micro guides. So they're becoming very popular. But like I said, that is where we came from, and I guess we're regarded as the micro guide company, by most consumers. But we also have the new line of full-size guided rods, the Terex line, for those that like the full-size guides for whatever reason.
Right.
Still a large portion of the market. We wanted to offer our great blank to them as well, so that's available in the Terex.
And as you mentioned, that's all. You also have a line designed by one of your pro team members, Dean Rojas, and anyone that's followed Bass or has read the magazines, whatever, knows that Dean is kind of the frog guru, if you will. So
he's the frog guy, and the reason Dean likes full-size guided rods, and I do also, I'm a big advocate, obviously, of the micro guides, but when I'm throwing a frog, or sometimes a toad, or really anything when you're in a lot of slop, where you're throwing braided line, and you may pick up, cottonseed in the spring, or just stained water, or even grass particles, when you get a lot of stuff trapped on the line, that those full-size guides help. Those micro guides will clog, especially with that cottonseed that sticks to the braided line.
Yes.
You'll end up with it clogging on the guides, so that's an application where you have to use the full-size guided rods. That's what Dean likes, and he's created some really interesting frog rods. It's cool to see, and Dean Rojas, I don't think anybody would question, he's probably the master at understanding how to fish a frog, what's required. And what most people don't realize is, Dean doesn't like a super stiff rod to throw a frog. What's more important throwing a frog is getting the bites. So what Dean wanted us to create, I spent a lot of time and built a lot of samples He wanted a stiff rod. He's got a 7-foot and a 7/4, two models in his frog rod. But he wanted a real soft tip that helps promote walking that frog. When you're throwing a frog around, scattered lily pads, scattered grass, milfoil that's partially topped out, it's not a matter of just hopping that frog along. If you want to bean fish it, he's walking that frog like they're a spook or something.
Oh, wow.
That's the real key to getting those, to getting a lot of frog bites. And in order to help him walk that frog, he likes that real soft tip. So his rod, probably that first 10 or 12 inches is very soft, and then it kind of hits a brick wall with a lot of power for setting the hook. So we've built a couple of frog rods that Dean says he says are the best ones he's ever fished with, and he would know. So that's been a fun project.
Well, like you said, if anybody would know, it would be Dean as far as frogging is concerned. That's for sure. I don't think anyone will ever argue that comment. And if they did, they probably don't know too much about fishing themselves. But anyway, that's an argument for a different day. So as you mentioned, so you got the top of the line White Ice Series, then the original Micro Magic. Now you've got the Micro Magic Pro, and the Ghost kind of offers the best of both worlds for the not so serious angler, but still wants the advantages that Duckett fishing rods offers to the angler. And now you've got the Terex model that's coming out for 2015, and as you mentioned, they're shipping out. One question that I have, Boyd, and I've been asked this question, and I've provided my answers. I've heard other anglers provide answers. The one question that I get asked a lot is, because I don't get out often enough and I need to buy a new rod, what rod would you recommend I get that I can use it as an all-purpose rod? So I know I'd have to change line, but if I want to fish panfish, whether it's bluegill, pumpkin seed crappie, then I want to go to bass, then I want to go to walleye. What rod length and strength, or you know what I mean? Like, what rod would you recommend to that person?
If you could only use one and you were going to be a multi-species fisherman, then I'd have to say you'd need a spinning rod. And I say that because if you're going to bluegill fish, walleye fish, even smallmouth fishing, I prefer a spinning rod. You can still largemouth fish with it. You'd have to have a spinning rod. So I'd want to pick an all-purpose spinning rod, and I would give you a choice of two based on your height and your personal characteristic. And here's what I'm thinking. I would definitely stay in a medium action rod. That's a good all-purpose rod. It's soft enough to fish for crappie and bluegill and what have you. Mm-hmm. Still, it's going to be strong enough to bass fish for, smallmouth and largemouth and what have you. The only choice you'll have to make, depending on your height and how comfortable you are with a long rod, I'm 6'3". I like a 7-foot rod, but that's a little more cumbersome if you have less experience. A shorter rod is a lot easier to be accurate casting with. So you'd make a choice, either a 6'6" or a 7-foot, depending on what feels the best to you. It's like golf clubs. One golf club isn't perfect for everybody.
Right.
That's why they offer lengths of shafts to fit your swing. Kind of the same way in fishing. So I'm going to narrow it down to two for you. Definitely a spinning rod, definitely medium action, but you're going to make a choice of either a 6'6" medium or a 7-foot medium.
There you go. So that's pretty much the answer that I've given, except about the whole 7-foot. Now, never thought about the whole golf club thing, but all that's done now is provide us guys with an argument to tell our wives, well, look, honey, I need another rod because I'm so.
That's right. That's right. You can't expect me to play a good round with a 7-iron and a putter. You got to have some more stick.
That's right. So now we can go and tell our wives, well, hon, I need to get a 6'6" medium and a 7-foot medium because I've grown, or
Yeah. There you go.
Boy, I want to take a quick commercial break here. We're going to pay a few bills. when we come back, I'd like to ask you. I know you'd mentioned about the Terex that you're introducing in 2015, or you've already started shipping them out. I want to know what does Duckett Fishing have coming out in store for 2015, and if you could tell us that right after the break, we'll all look forward to hearing what you have to say on that.
Absolutely, Peter.
All right.
Sequoia Communications. High-quality cabling products, network solutions, and professional services are our highest priorities. Sequoia Communications is an established Ottawa-based company with over 50 years of combined expertise, experience, and success in the planning, design, installation, and maintenance of reliable networking solutions. Real Grip. Real Grip is a simple yet effective custom rubber slip-on grip designed to add comfort and ergonomics to your favorite fishing bait cast reel. Now with 2 versions, our grips fit a larger variety of bait cast and spinning reels. We also developed our new rod grip that slides over the fishing rod handles to add instant grip and comfort to your rod handle. From fishing pros like Dave Lefebvre to the Saturday afternoon bluegill enthusiast, Real Grip is a sure hit for any angler looking for an edge over the competition. Mercury Marine, #1 on the water. At Mercury Marine, we understand why you love being on the water, and that's why we do what we do. Engineer, build, and provide the best marine power in the world. Since 1939, our passion for quality, performance, and value has been matched only by our customers. Nitro Boats. Driven to be the best, it's our passion. When Bass Pro Shops founder Johnny Morris introduced the industry's first fully rigged boat, motor, and trailer package in 1978, he created a legacy of providing breakthrough values to anglers everywhere. Nitro Boats are available at every Bass Pro Shop, Track, or Boat Center location, as well as a nationwide network of independent dealers. As a Nitro owner, you'll have access to one of the largest and best service organizations. Clear Lake Cottages on the Rideau System, Newborough, Ontario. Your host, Chris and Wendy Cadu, will make sure your visit on the rustic waterfront cottages is the best it can be. 6 cottages overlooking Clear Lake, with their own docks so that you can dock your boat. Clear Lake Cottages is clearly the place to stay when in Newborough.
Welcome back. Today we have on the show 2007 Bassmaster Classic champion and Elite Series angler and Duckett Fishing Pro Boyd Duckett. Boyd, before the break, I had asked. You had mentioned that in 2015 you recently just announced the new Terex line of rods, which is different than your other 3 line of rods of micro guides. Now you got full guides on them, the traditional guides, I should say, not full guides, but traditional guides. I know you announced something at ICAST. You were wondering if you could share that with our listeners. What do you have coming up for 2015?
Absolutely. You know, one of the things we're well known as a high-quality rod builder, and I guess it's obvious at some point in time we would evolve into fishing reels. And I'm excited to say that after about a year and a half of work, testing, tons of hours with our pro staff on the water, we're excited about launching the new Duckett fishing reels. So we now have reels available. We actually have production in the warehouse. We're starting to ship to our stores now, and that's really been a ton of our time and energy over this past year has been working on perfecting our bait cast reels to offer something that should make a difference in an angler's hand. So we're really excited about it. We have 2 models available. We've got our 320, which is at a $189 price point, and our 360 that is at a $249 price point. Couple of the things, if I can take a minute, that I work really hard, just like the importance of weight and balance on the fishing rods. We talked about how good that feels and how it helps you have more sensitivity with your hand, ability to work baits. The reels are very low profile, they're very light, and they're perfectly balanced so that you don't get an awkward weight imbalance. And so that's something we spend a lot of time on. I've got them lowered really close. They feel comfortable in your hand. You can hold them for 8 or 10 hours. Our slogan around Duckett Fishing is pro-driven, and that's not a marketing slogan. I mean, we build products that'll work for us on tour, and then we find a find a way to price them so that everybody can buy them. So we're real excited about having our new reels. They are available in 3 gear ratios, 5.3 to 1, 6.3 to 1, and a high speed 7.1 to 1. So you can get all the different gear ratios you want, and they're available in 2 colors: white, which matches our rods perfectly, and we also have a model that's in black. So both reels are available in both colors, and real excited about it. If you haven't tried them, we've got a braking system. You know, one of the things, Peter, that I notice when I'm out doing seminars, a lot of people ask me, throwing bait casters, you know, spinner reels are kind of easy to manage, but bait casters, everybody overwinds or backlashes, you know.
Yeah.
And what can we do to make that easier? So I got to admit that other than making them look good, be low profile, and weight conscious, we wanted to design a reel that was easy for everybody to fish. So we actually have 3 braking systems on it. We have that traditional drum brake on the right-hand side that everybody's familiar with.
Yeah.
We've got a dial magnetic brake external to the reel on the left-hand side, where most people are used to seeing that. But we have a centrifugal internal braking system that's really what makes these reels special. It has 4 different settings, and actually what creates a backlash, you need to have pressure on the spool to keep the spool from winding faster than the bait is pulling.
Right.
And so what starts a backlash is that spool will overspin. And by having a loaded braking system that as the spool spins harder, there is more braking. And then as that spool starts to slow down, those brakes slowly release, which allows you to maximize your cast. And that's made all the difference in the world, you know, for guys. I mean, trust me, at a pro level, we throw plenty of backlashes we don't want to, but we're always trying to throw a light lure farther than we can. So I'm real excited about that. I think people will find that our bait casters are much easier to cast, minimize those backlashes, and have a better fishing experience when you are on the water.
That's well, again, if, as you mentioned, quality. If they're anything like the rods that you've built, these reels will be phenomenal. And you know, like the rods, if guys get these in their hands, they're not going to want to put them down, or they're going to want to get more. So that's great news for Duckett fishing. Now you guys got a complete rod and reel combo, and as you mentioned, kind of designed for one another. Which, as you know, fishing all day, you want to be as comfortable as possible. I hate to brush it off, but boy, we got about a minute left. How about you personally? I know the Elite Series is all finished with, and then the Classic coming up. What are you getting ready for 2015 now, as far as the Elite Series goes?
Oh yeah, yep. The schedule's out now. We start doing some research, get your topographical maps up. Start to build a game plan for the upcoming season. Be fishing all 9 of the Elite Series events. Of course, I also fish the Major League Fishing event. That's another very popular and really a hard format to fish. Mm-hmm. And then again, next year I also plan to fish the Northern Opens, so I'll be up north for all 3 of the Bassmaster Northern Opens because I love coming up there catching smallmouth. Perfect.
Well, I know you guys will be up in Waddington, which is kind of in our area, neck of the woods, so hopefully people will come out and see that are up in Canada, and anyone else that's anywhere near one of these events, do drop in. You owe it to yourself to watch these professional anglers and see all the big bags they bring in, and professionals through and through. Boyd, I want to thank you very much for taking time away from your schedule to talk to us today and to talk to us about the new lines of rods and your reels. I wish you all the best and success as far as the company goes, as well as on tour next year. And hopefully we'll see you back on that Classic stage.
That's fantastic. I sure appreciate that. I appreciate the opportunity and appreciate your listeners giving us a look there on our Duckett fishing products.
Perfect. And what we'll do is we have a Facebook page, Boyd. If it's all right, we'll put a link to your to the website at duckettfishing.com, and any other things that we can do to try to get traffic your way and to get people to get these rods and reels into our listeners' hands.
Fantastic.
That's all the time we have for this week. I want to thank Mr. Boyd Duckett for joining us today. This episode was brought to you by Gambler Lures, better baits, better fishing, better time on the water. Lose, building innovative products that are faster, lighter, and stronger. George's Marine and Sports, making fun of reality. Livingston Lures, the difference is clear. Mercury Marine, number one on the water. Nitro Boats, driven to be the best, it's our passion. And Clear Lake Cottages on the Rideau system in Newborough, Ontario. I'm your host, Peter Larmont, and you've been listening to What's New, the Peter Larmont Outdoor Radio Show on radiojar.com, WRVOradio.com, and on Spreaker.com. Remember to take a kid fishing. They are the future of our sport. Practice catch and release. But if you're going to harvest a resource, harvest only what you'll eat. Lord willing, we'll be back next week with another episode of What's New. Thanks for listening.